You're carrying groceries, your phone buzzes, and there it is. A message saying your package is held, and one tap will fix it. That is the whole trick. It shows up at the exact moment when a normal person is already thinking about a delivery. So the message feels useful before your brain gets around to asking the less exciting question, do I actually know who sent this? Official postal guidance warns that unsolicited package texts with unfamiliar links can be smishing scams, which is a form of phishing using a text message or phone number to lure people into giving personal or financial information. In this kind of scam, the link is not a shortcut to your box. It is the doorway the scammer wants you to use. That matters because the request can be after more than a package. Usernames, passwords, social security numbers, dates of birth, card numbers, PINs, and other sensitive information. And USPS tracking does not work the way the scam text pretends it does. Under that guidance, customers must register online or initiate a text request with a tracking number, and the carrier will not send that kind of message with a link first. So the thing to watch next is simple. If the text arrives out of nowhere, the safe move is not to use it as the doorway at all. Here's the part that makes this annoying. Real package tracking does exist, and real delivery updates do happen, so the scam does not need to invent a wild story. It only needs to borrow the look and timing of something ordinary. When a message arrives about a package being held or needing a response, it can feel like a normal part of waiting for a box. Here's the line. Real package tracking works differently from random texts. Customers have to register online or start the text request themselves with a tracking number, and the real USPS message will not contain a link. That means the safe path begins with you, not with a surprise message trying to steer you somewhere. Same topic, very different doorway. The consequence is simple. If the text is the doorway, the sender is trying to control the route. That is why a package message can feel believable, even when it's not legitimate. Keep watching for the next clue, because the fake version often depends on urgency and on you assuming the box is already in motion. Now, watch the scam logic. The message is not really about the package, it is about the doorway it hands you. Tap the link, and you are no longer dealing with a delivery notice. You are dealing with a page or prompt built to pull you somewhere else. The private details scammers may go after include usernames, passwords, social security numbers, dates of birth, card numbers, PINs, and other sensitive information. That is a very expensive shopping list. Not because the scammers want to know your birthday for fun. Because once they can collect enough of those pieces, they can turn a fake delivery problem into a real money problem. That is why the safest move is not to use the suspicious text as the doorway at all. Do not tap its link, reply to its instructions, or enter information there. Go to the carrier or store through a known app, known website, or account path you navigate to yourself. The trick depends on speed and habit. The watch item for the next scene is simple. Any message that insists that text link is the only fix deserves a hard stare. This is why the scam keeps working on normal people. Waiting for a package adds pressure to an otherwise ordinary moment. You want the problem gone. You want the tracking update. You want to stop wondering whether the box is on a truck, in a warehouse, or somewhere weird like the moon. That's the opening the message uses. It borrows the feeling of a real delivery notice and turns impatience into a tap. Smishing is phishing by text. A message or phone number tries to lure you into giving personal or financial information. In broader reporting, AP found that this package and toll text pattern has grown into a much wider smishing problem, with one threat actor registering more than 10,000 domains tied to toll and package scams affecting services in at least 10 U.S. states and Ontario. That scale matters because it shows the message is not a one-off oddity, it is mass-produced. The consequence is bigger than a lost minute. The point of the text is to pull you off the safe path and into the fake one. What to watch next is simple. The danger gets sharper when the text feels timely, familiar, and urgent. That's exactly when the link deserves the least trust. Here is the part you do not see in the little text bubble. The real target is often your information, not the package. The private details scammers may seek include usernames, passwords, social security numbers, dates of birth, card numbers, PINs, and other sensitive information. So the message is not just trying to win a tap, it is trying to turn that tap into a handoff. Once someone follows the suspicious link, the page can pull them farther into the scam by asking for more details. The exact page flow can vary, but the direction stays the same, away from your delivery and toward private information. That is why the safer move is to stop using the suspicious text as the doorway and go to the carrier or store through a known app, known website, or account path you navigate to yourself. The consequence is simple and ugly. A normal package check can become a privacy leak. And the warning to watch for next is the same one throughout this episode. If a text is trying to rush you into entering sensitive information, the box is probably not the thing it wants. So, what is the safer move? Do not use the suspicious text as the doorway. Go around it. Open your carrier app. Go to the carrier website you typed or bookmarked yourself, or check your account path directly. That is the clean rule from the Postal Inspection Service guidance, and it saves you from having to trust a random link that showed up uninvited. The mechanism is simple. The scam text tries to turn your curiosity into a shortcut. Real package tracking is something you start on purpose, usually with a tracking number or a sign-in path you already know. An unsolicited text is the opposite. It is trying to pull you off your normal route and into its own little hallway, where the link is the trap and the urgency is the furniture. The consequence of taking the shortcut is that you may hand over personal or financial information. Official guidance says criminals may seek usernames, passwords, social security numbers, dates of birth, card numbers, PINs, and other sensitive information. So the annoying choice is the safer one. Pause, close the text, and navigate yourself. What to watch next is the wording that pushes you to act now, especially if the message arrived without you requesting tracking for a specific package. The rule is boring on purpose. Use one known path. There is another little trap worth knowing. In broader reporting, AP found that some toll text scams tried to get iPhone users to reply with a single Y and reopen the message to bypass link protections. That is sneaky in the boring industrial way that scams often are. Not a movie hack, just a cheap trick that tries to get you to help the message become useful again. In other words, the text is not only trying to get a tap, it may also try to get a response that changes how the phone treats the thread. Once the message is being handled like something you chose to engage with, the scam has a better shot at staying in the conversation. Package scams may use different wording, but the larger lesson holds. Do not reply, do not tap, and do not assume the message is safer just because you are interacting with it in a different way. The safer rule is to stop using the suspicious text as the doorway, and go to the carrier or store through a known app, known website, or account path you navigate to yourself. That leaves one question to watch for next. If the text is trying to steer you into a reply, a link, or a fresh login path, what exactly is it asking you to give up? If a delivery message feels off, the move is simple. Pause. Do not tap the link. Do not reply to the instructions. Official postal guidance warns that unsolicited text messages with unfamiliar links, claiming a USPS delivery requires a response, can be smishing scams, and it says not to click the link if you did not request tracking for a specific package. Instead, check the shipment or order through a path you already know is real. That can mean the carrier app, the store app, or a website you open yourself from a bookmark or by typing it in. The point is not to treat every package as guilty. The point is to stop letting the text choose the road. Smishing, as USPS describes it, is a form of phishing that uses a text message or phone number to lure people into giving personal or financial information, including usernames, passwords, social security numbers, dates of birth, card numbers, PINs, and other sensitive information. When you use one known path, the scam loses its favorite advantage: surprise. The message can be loud, urgent, and annoyingly specific, but it still cannot force you to use its doorway. Watch for the next move too, because some scams try to push extra interaction instead of a simple click. If you already clicked, the next move is still the same basic idea. Stop using that message as your guide. Close it. Do not keep filling things out just because the page has already started its little performance. Then go to the real account path and check what, if anything, actually happened. The important thing is not to keep feeding the machine. That matters because smishing is a form of phishing that uses a text message or phone number to lure people into giving personal or financial information. In package scams, the bait is often the idea that a delivery is waiting on one small correction. Official postal guidance warns that unsolicited texts with unfamiliar links claiming a USPS delivery requires a response can be smishing scams. And it says real tracking tools do not work that way. Customers must register online or initiate a text request with a tracking number, and the message will not contain a link. If you entered sensitive information, treat that as a real problem, not a shrug and hope situation. The risks can include usernames, passwords, social security numbers, dates of birth, card numbers, PINs, and other sensitive information. The scam's power comes from speed and confusion. Your power comes from slowing it down and switching to a known path before it gets any more of your time, money, or private details. What to watch next? The fake message may try to keep you inside its own doorway, with more prompts, more urgency, or a new step that still avoids the real carrier or store path. That is the tell. Leave the text behind and go around it. The reason these warnings keep coming back is that the scam is built to scale. AP's reporting on toll and package smishing described a threat actor registering more than 10,000 domains across a wide set of services. That tells you the people behind this are not sending one clumsy text and calling it a day. They are running a churn machine. New domain, new message, new fake door, repeat. That scale matters because smishing is not just a bad link problem. Official postal guidance describes smishing as a form of phishing, using a text message or phone number to lure people into giving personal or financial information. In package scams, that can include usernames, passwords, social security numbers, dates of birth, card numbers, PINs, and other sensitive information. The text is only the front door. The real theft starts when the target starts handing over details. So the consequence is bigger than one tap. A single convincing text can be copied, swapped, and aimed at thousands of people who are already expecting a delivery. That's why the safest move is to treat the link as suspicious by default if you did not request tracking for a specific package. Keep watching for the next trick, because the scam changes costumes. What should you watch for next? The same old playbook in a new outfit. A delivery problem, a missed fee, a tracking issue, a link that wants your hurry more than your attention. We don't know which exact version will show up in your inbox or on your phone next, because the point of these scams is constant change. In broader reporting, AP found that Palo Alto Networks said a threat actor registered more than 10,000 domains for toll and package scams affecting services in at least 10 US states and Ontario, which is a good reminder that this is not one lonely text wandering around the internet. It's a pattern. The names and details can shift, but the structure stays familiar. A message tries to make itself into the only fast fix. That's the part to notice. Not every delivery text is fake. The warning sign is the unsolicited one that pushes you toward a link, especially when you did not request tracking for a specific package. The safer move is still the boring one. Don't use the text as the doorway. Go around it and check through a known app, known website, or your account path instead. What to watch next is pressure. If the message says act now, tap now, or fix it now, that urgency is the clue. The box may be real. Bottom line, if a delivery text asks for one tap to fix a problem, do not let that message become the doorway. The safer move is to treat the text as a notification to ignore, not a path to follow. Real tracking tools work differently. Under the official guidance, customers must register online or initiate a text request with a tracking number, and the carrier will not send a text or email without that request. The message will not contain a link. That is the clean test here. Unsolicited link plus delivery pressure is a thing to step back from. The reason this matters is simple. Smishing is phishing by text, and the goal is not really to help with a package. It is to pull personal or financial information through a fake prompt. Official guidance says criminals may seek usernames, passwords, social security numbers, dates of birth, card numbers, PINs, and other sensitive information. So the danger is not just the tap. It is the path the tap opens. If you are waiting on a box, the scam counts on that impatience. Watch for that impulse next time. Pause, go around the text, and check the carrier or store through a known app, known website, or your own account path. Then, if you want the next warning before the next trap, like the video and subscribe to Stick News. And tell us, if you were waiting for a package, would you tap first or check the carrier yourself?